Hello and welcome to today's Moto News Worldwide video. Firstly, I wanted to give you guys a couple announcements with the Motocross Network. We have finally shipped out all orders for issue number 10 of the Motocross Network magazine. So to all of you MagPass subscribers and all of you that pre-ordered it, it should arrive soon. We just got them all sent out, so you guys should be getting those soon. If you haven't ordered one and you want one, head to the mxnetwork.com and snag a copy. We also have some leftovers from last year and this year, if I can find one. Got leftovers from last year, and actually, if I can find it here, we still have leftovers from the first one we ever did in 2021. So if you want to see where we started, that's up there. We got stuff from last year, and then, of course, we got the latest and greatest, issue number 10 up there right now. So if you want to support us, that's a great way to do it. Second announcement I have for the day, we're going to be at Matterley Basin for Motocross of Nations. I'm not going to be there, but our British journalist Jordan Barber will be there doing post-race interviews and getting some other extra content. This is not a cheap endeavor. We are trying to get him to go to some MXGP races for us next year to do post-race interviews. I'll be doing the American side of things, hopefully some Supercross and the full season of Pro Motocross. And then we have another Australian journalist that can hopefully do some Australian motocross rounds next year, something like that. So this is not a cheap endeavor. If you guys want to help us get to all these races, become a member of the Motocross Network Premium. Now, what is that, you may ask? Well, it's a $3 per month subscription to our website, the Motocross Network, or the mxnetwork.com, sorry. This will give you access to all of our exclusive interviews, post-race interviews, the Motocross Network travel vlog, the digital version of all of our magazines. All this content's ad-free. We got a bunch of stuff on there. Like I said, this weekend we'll be at Motocross of Nations. So, yeah, it's not cheap. We need some support. So if you guys can become a member, you guys get a crap ton of amazing content for only $3 a month, and you help us get to all of these events. So huge thanks to all you guys who became members. And if you haven't, head to the mxnetwork.com and sign up today. All right, sorry for that long-winded introduction, guys, but let's get to the news now. News we have today, we're going to start with Haiden Deegan, his recovery time frame, which is going to be longer than expected, I guess, according to him. Then we're going to take a look at a fresh signing for Star Yamaha. That is Christian Craig. He's joining some old friends at Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha next year. And then after that, we're going to look at a new clip of Jeffrey Herlings going after the FIM and MXGP for his penalty and the safety situation in Spain this past weekend. I'm sure you guys heard about that, but we have a fresh interview. The one that was going viral was his post-race interview with MXGP themselves. But in the press conference, he let loose even more. So we're going to take a look at that and that whole situation. All right, first story of the day, Haiden Deegan, the two-time 250 SMX champion. Haiden Deegan has provided an in-depth account of his wrist injury that plagued him intermittently throughout the 2024 season. Following the SuperMotocross World Championship finale in Vegas, Deegan underwent surgery and is currently mandated to take a 6-week break from riding during the offseason. Now, despite initially fracturing his wrist during the Monster Energy AMA Supercross 250 East preseason, which necessitated the insertion of 2 screws, Deegan pushed through it and persevered, securing second place in Supercross standings. He then went on to have an incredible Pro Motocross season and obviously the championship. And to cap off the year, winning SMX. So, incredible year, especially dealing with that injury. Now, originally, Deegan thought he was going to be off the bike and away from training for a couple of weeks to recover, but unfortunately, the screws that he had removed caused some more damage, thus extending his recovery time frame to about 6 weeks. So that's a pretty big change. Now, here's what Deegan had to say regarding this on this week's episode of the Title 2-4 podcast. Here's that clip.
You had your procedure. You posted it on Instagram yesterday.
Yeah, actually, anesthesia. I didn't even know I posted those pictures on Instagram 3 weeks before the first round or whatever. I ended up breaking my wrist, and I wanted to race, go, get surgery, and they're like, gave me the option to put 2 screws in there so that there's no chance the bone can move. Scaphoid's a really risky bone to be playing with. Almost the whole Supercross season, it hurt to race, and I was just dogging it out. But basically, so they have 2 screws in there. One is sticking out a little bit. They weren't able to pit it all the way into the bones. It was actually bothering me pretty bad, like all year. Definitely days where I was in a lot of pain during training and after races. I mean, dude, those outdoor nationals when I'm sending it, jumping to flats and stuff, trying to win these races. And then after the race. I was actually in a lot of pain. Like, it did hurt pretty bad. And they went in there and removed that screw. And there's also some ligament damage and stuff from that screw sticking out a little bit. Take some time off and recover the wrist because there was a little bit of damage in there from having that screw. 4 weeks before I start doing any training, and then back on the bike like that 6-week mark.
So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Race like that all year in pain. It was a smart decision to skip out on Motocross of Nations, that's for sure. Had he not, he would have really limited his prep for 2025. Now, speaking of Motocross of Nations and all the drama that brought, Deegan spoke about his dream to race Motocross of Nations and what it would mean to him later in the Title 2-4 podcast, saying, quote, "It'd be a dream come true to race Nations. You're racing against all the top guys from different countries. Obviously, you have to race the champs from MXGP as well. That was always the goal. I feel like if you win MXON, you kind of solidify yourself as the best 250 guy in the world. So if I'm healed and everything goes to plan, I definitely want to give it a run next year." With that being said, it seems clear to me that he genuinely does want to go represent himself and his country in Motocross of Nations. It was just the smartest move to sit this one out, to recover for next year, especially with this extended recovery time frame. I get it completely. Think it was a smart move, and obviously giving himself that extra room played out well, considering it's going to be longer to recover. But yeah, I hope he's healthy enough to go next year. I'm certain he'll do incredible and represent America well over there. So yeah, good luck to Deegan on his recovery, and hopefully we can see him race Motocross of Nations next year. All right, second story of the day, Christian Craig. He really hasn't been a topic of conversation this year, but with this announcement, I'm sure he will be again. Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha has re-signed Christian Craig with a hybrid contract that extends through 2026. Craig will ride the YZ450F full-time and also play a role in mentoring the team's 250 class riders. Craig previously secured the 2022 Monster Energy 250 West Championship with Star Racing. He then moved to Husqvarna for the 450 class over the last 2 years, which were unfortunately marred by injuries. Now at 33, Craig has revitalized his career, and his return to Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha for 2025 and beyond is poised to be crucial in these later stages of his professional racing career. Christian Craig spoke on the signing in a Yamaha press release, saying, quote, "I'm so excited to be back with the Star Racing team and grateful that even after my 2 years away, they still welcomed and believed in me. It already feels so good to be back in the same environment where I won my championship and surrounded by the people who helped get me there. Looking forward to a great next couple of years." So next year, Craig will be competing alongside Cooper Webb, Eli Tomac, and Justin Cooper, expanding the 450 class team to 4 riders now. Additionally, he will take on a significant role in mentoring and developing the upcoming talents at Star Racing who will be riding the YZ250F. Now, Star Yamaha team manager Jeremy Coker spoke on the return of Christian Craig, saying, quote, "We are very excited to have Christian back aboard the Star Racing Yamaha 450. We feel that he has yet to show his true abilities on the 450, and we look forward to bringing him back to where he belongs. We also look forward to having him back around the young talent that we have on our team to bring his experience and help us develop these younger riders." I think this is awesome to see. I'm super pumped to see Craig back on Monster Energy Yamaha. Nothing but good memories and a great program for Craig, as we saw years ago, both in the 250 and 450. He was great on the team in both classes. So hopefully we see a revival out of Craig in 2025. He's been on the struggle bus past couple of years, but we know he has the speed. We'll just have to wait and see how he feels on this new machine. All right, before we move on, this video is sponsored by Blood Lubricants. Blood is a premium off-road oil and lubricant company. They have everything from chain lube to regular engine oil to bloodbath, wash, and wax. They've got a wide variety of products all made here in the USA. It's all super high-quality stuff, but don't just take my word for it. It's all Chris Kiefer tested and approved as well. So if you're going to change your oil, going to wash your bike, don't chintz out, get the good stuff, and I can even save you some money. For a limited time, you can save 25% off site-wide using our code TMN25. So go give them some love. Head to bloodlubricants.com today. All right, on to the final story of the day. Jeffrey Herlings this weekend at the MXGP World Motocross Championship finale in Spain. There were a lot of talking points and stories that happened, but the biggest one, in my opinion, was the drama with Jeffrey Herlings. So for those of you who don't know or don't remember, in Moto 1, Herlings was pushed off track in the first turn, forcing him to go around a jump. He rode over some cables, rocks, water pipes, and got back on the track in the next safe entry point. He didn't gain any time, and as far as I'm concerned, he did the best he could. There wasn't really anything else he could do. So see for yourself. Here's that clip. As you can see, Jeffrey did nothing dramatic. He fell off the track and got back on the safest way possible. Well, the FIM felt differently. Herlings was penalized 3 positions for his off-track excursion. To add salt to the wound in Moto 2, Honda HRC's Tim Geiser was similarly pushed off-track by the start. This time it was the first turn, kind of the whole shot line. Herlings was the second turn around that jump. Tim's situation was a little different. Tim was pushed off track by the start and skipped the entire second turn. He went straight by the next safest entry point and got back on track ahead of where he was position-wise when he fell off the track. So he cut a tremendous part of the track and gained time, but didn't get penalized. That seems a little biased. So I'm sure they did this to keep the championship battle in play for the final moto of the year, as Geiser and Prado were still tight in points. But that's kind of ridiculous, and I really feel for Herlings. Anyway, here's that clip of Geiser's unpenalized off-track excursion. Tell me if you see a difference between those two. As you can see, it's pretty clear that Geiser's was way worse than Herlings, so it was likely a biased ruling. Now, after the race, in post-race interviews, Jeffrey, he was not holding back. He went on about how it was a BS ruling and the fact that he had to ride over rocks, cables, and pipes a couple of feet off the side of the track is a clear safety problem. And he even went on to say he understands why riders want to take the first flight to America. For those of you who haven't seen his fiery post-race interviews, here's a fresh one that most people haven't seen of him in the press conference. Here's that clip.
What is this? Is this a motocross track or is this a club meeting? Just one thing I want to say about today, which I believe is not right, is that first motor got pushed out of the track. They deducted me by 3 positions, even though I went in the first safest spot, and even, you know, the FAM, I think, is responsible for our health. And they had major water hose, electric cables, big rocks, and I didn't even gain a position, and they still deducted me by 3. And when we asked for, like, can we protest, they said, yeah, please give us the €650. We will not change the result. I think it's a bit disrespectful. Sorry for the critics, but a little bit of respect for our riders. Us as riders, and I think I'm one of the only ones always step up for us as riders. You know, the track again today. What is this? Is this a motocross track or is this a club meeting? Yeah, I'm sorry to say, but this is not World Championship value anymore. But yeah, I kind of understand why a lot of riders go US. And if I would be their age, I would take the first plane tomorrow morning and I would do the same things.
I fully agree with Herlings, and I'm so happy he spoke up. A lot of MXGP riders have been complaining about safety problems on and off track in recent years, so they need to work on that. MXGP is the Motocross World Championship, and they need to act like it. Now, regarding the ruling against him, I don't know why they penalized him and refused to look at it again. They did tell him that he could pay €650 or whatever, and they wouldn't look at it again. They would just accept the money. So I really don't know why they penalized him and not Tim. It was weird. Maybe they're angry at Jeffrey. I don't know. He's very outspoken lately, so maybe that's why. Pretty ridiculous actions from the FIM, in my opinion. They did steal his overall win in the end, so that's pretty ridiculous. I'm just happy to see riders speak out, though. That's pretty good. We need more of that for change, and I'm glad to see that Jeffrey Herlings is leading the way. All right, guys, that's all I have for stories in today's Moto News Worldwide video. Let me know your thoughts on these topics. How do you feel about Deegan's longer recovery timeline? How about Christian Craig back to Yamaha? What about the crazy Herlings situation? Let us know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to head to our website, themxnetwork.com, to become a premium member. If you want to watch our exclusive interviews, post-race interviews for Motocross of Nations, those will be up. Or even get our digital magazine and much, much more. Become a member for only $3 a month. You get all of that and help us get to the races in the United States, in Europe, and hopefully in Australia. Like I mentioned earlier, we're heading to Matterley Basin for Motocross of Nations to get post-race interviews and other content. So we definitely need your help on that one, guys. Huge thanks to you guys who have already become members and are helping us get to the races. It means the world to us. Thanks so much for the support, guys. Anyway, that's all I have for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.